Alright guys, now that Spock month is over, I could finally start doing normal videos again, and can actually start making non-Spocky videos, but today, I'm doing a review on Neo Scavenger. Now, this game, in my opinion, is awesome, but I'm gonna be putting out why, and I'm gonna try to look at it with an unbiased, liking towards it, because, well, this game has been part of my childhood, I'd have to say. Maybe not my childhood, but I discovered this game in 2016 uh, on the App Store, and I didn't have $10 at the time to buy the full version. But I think the first time I ever played it, I didn't even know what I was doing. I uh, I just downloaded it, and it seemed pretty cool. I think I found a med kit and thought it was like a I don't even know what I thought it was, but I think I just died of hypothermia immediately in the beginning. I thought it was just, oh, I don't have the full version, so probably just die at night, and I deleted it, but that was my first ever encounter with Neo Scavenger, and ever since that moment, I've had some sort of longing for this game. I remember going to a flea market, and I wanted to play this so bad in the car, and, oh man, I have a lot of memories, but I'm gonna look at it without an unbiased thing towards it, and I'm gonna give you guys an honest review. So anyways, guys, here is an honest review on Neo Scavenger. Now, my first gripe with this game is, I'd have to say it actually is missing some stuff. Like, there's some things that this game could actually have, but it doesn't. Like, I'd have to say the game has missed potential in the beginning. Like, it's missing something. Like, with mods, which I have installed, obviously, you can see that I have mods right now, but you can obviously see that the game has some missed potential. Like, there should have been, like, more vehicles that help you get around faster, instead of just being, like, things that you can store your stuff in. Like, there should have been, like, cars you can get working, and bikes in the game, but there wasn't. But with mods, you can obviously fix this, but still, the base game could have used this, but, uh, yeah, it didn't, sadly. But, in the beginning of the game, like, if you buy the game today, and just start it, it's sort of hard to explain. Basically, you think that there's a lot of stuff out there, but the more you travel, it's just like random encounters and finding stuff and getting attacked by scavengers and dogmen and just other monsters. But the base game is actually kind of barren if you've like played it a lot, and it's really good though for new players. Like, it's really good. And also the mobile version, I highly recommend you get the PC version. It's much better, and you can actually mod it. With mods, the game is very greatly enhanced. But, now a few good things about the game. The game is just overall awesome. The music in the game is just absolutely amazing. The sound, they specifically designed the soundtrack to try to make you feel lonely. And you're like the only one in Michigan. And you're surviving on your own, and it's got such a great soundtrack too. It's really good. The game is a very nice survival game too, set in post-apocalyptic Michigan. Uh, you have amnesia, I think. You don't know who you are. All you know is that well, actually, you don't know that you're in Michigan, but if you look at like the records in like the beginning room of the game, you can find out your name is Philip Kindred, but your character doesn't exactly notice this for some reason. But it still adds to the lore, and it's just a really nice game. Now another little conspiracy theory I have, and there's actually a lot of evidence to this too. Fallout 4 copied Neo Scavenger. My proof to this is the game was being developed in 2013, and I think there was a beta version in 2013, and the game got finished I think in 2014, and 2014, and well, technically existing in 2013. That's basically 2 years before Fallout 4 dropped, which had a very close premise to Neo Scavenger, where you go in a cryopod and like 200 years passes. A very close premise. And, I think Fallout 4 copied Neo Scavenger, guys. Like, it's a conspiracy theory, and I'm probably insane for this. And I think the FBI is going to be at my door after saying all this, but it's just a little conspiracy theory I have. A few more things about the game is turn-based. When you find people, you don't just like fight them on the spot. Like, it's not a first-person shooter. You can obviously see that by the background game, but yeah, it's not like games now. It's like old school Fallout, or like Fallout 1 and 2, except it goes to like a specific combat menu or something. And in there, you can see all your options to fight, and there's different options for what kind of character you made. And I'd have to say the combat is pretty good. I actually kind of like old school turn-based combat like that. It's pretty good. In my opinion, though, you might have like you might not like it. It's not the best way to do combat, but for like a game like this, it sort of just works. Like it wouldn't exactly fit if you just like go into this sandbox VR whatever thing to fight whoever just found you. It just wouldn't exactly work. So I think they did a pretty nice job with that. But this is mainly my opinion on this. But if you like turn-based games, then this is one of the games that you should probably get. Now, the game has a pretty good beta version too, but it's not exactly the best. In fact, I don't even want to include the beta version. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. Moving on from the beta version, the full version is really decent. I'd have to say it's definitely worth the $10. It's really good. Exploring full Michigan is pretty difficult in the game, because the further north you go, the more you get attacked by dangerous stuff, which, if the game's permadeath, that's kind of a bad idea. Like, if you want to explore this whole thing, you gotta practice hours and hours and doing stuff, and you might just end up getting a disease and dying. Like, the game is very difficult. And my opinion on its permadeath is, well, it's not exactly. I don't know. The game tells you to like explore and stuff, and it basically gives you the reins to do whatever you want. But there is like sort of a set thing or a path to go, which I usually take. I usually go from the main cryo base thing up to Zomzoms, south to the mine thing or whatever. I don't even know why I take that route. Usually the mine doesn't exactly have much except for the power cell. Basically, there's set stuff in the game. The game is mostly RNG. Well, not exactly mostly, but most of like the encounters that you can find in the game are RNG and stuff. And yeah, most of the random encounters you can find are RNG. But mainly the important buildings in the game you can find are not. And the game has actually some pretty complex factions too. Like, there's Martha's Army, which is a bunch of roaming raiders who kill people and chop them up and sell them to the cannibal market. And I believe their main base is either Zomzoms, or wait, no, I think it actually is Zomzoms. There's a few other factions like the Detroit Megacity, which basically in post-apocalyptic Michigan, Michigan failed, but Detroit became an absolute megacity among the apocalypse. And they did a very nice job with that. Although, I think there could have been way more places to go in the Detroit megacity. Like, you can go there to buy stuff, you can get, like, surgery to buff up your character and stuff, but they could have done a way better job with the megacity. Like, they didn't exactly do the best job. Like, it could have been way better. But still, the Detroit megacity, pretty decent faction. I believe there's another faction. What are they called? Oh yeah, the Blue Frogs. Basically, they worship a blue frog, I think, or something. They're very hostile when you find them, and they're really annoying late game because they have usually some pretty good gear to attack you with, and they're pretty dangerous. So yeah, they're another pretty cool faction, but watch out for them. They're pretty dangerous. Anyways, that's pretty much most of the factions. Everything else, but oh yeah, there's Martha's Army. Martha's Army, I'd have to say, is the most interesting. They're basically a bunch of dudes held out in Camp Grayling, which is where the game ends. and their main goal is to destroy technology, which they believe started the apocalypse, which is pretty interesting. They got a lot of depth behind them too, and yeah, they hate technology, which a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot of people, but some people actually do in modern life, or I'd have to say or real life, I mean. So, yeah, they're pretty cool. Uh, like Fallout, I usually beat the game with these factions, but I believe the game has like only one end, and the game always ends at Camp Grilling. I think you go in there, and usually how the game ends, you get paid to go to Grilling, or you make like a trade deal. Like, there's two potential ways to end the game. Like, you can go to Detroit Megacity and get the Hatter, which is a character there, who gives you a flash drive and says he needs information from the city, and you can get the ending. You can get like, I don't even know if these are endings, but there are different ways you can end the game. They actually technically are endings, but not exactly. It's complicated. But yeah, the game usually ends, it always ends actually at Grayling. Or if you die, I'm pretty sure that's maybe an ending too, but it's not a very good ending. It's basically like the bad ending. Uh, the game is a very hardcore survival game. It's quite difficult. It's also permadeath, and yeah, it's pretty difficult. But there's a lot to explore in the game too. Like, the further north you go, it gets more dangerous. The further east you go, there's more set places to find, like the Detroit Megacity. There's a lot to the game too. Like, if you're just starting out and you buy the game, there's a lot to it. There's a ton of factions, ton of stuff. Uh, One of the biggest tips for the game, I'd have to say, is to keep clean. Like, you don't want to get any wounds. You don't want to use any dirty bandages. You don't want to use any of that. Basically, you want to keep clean, and you want to have enough resources to survive. And you want to always be ready for combat, too. And also, there's a lot of loot you can get in the game, which can really help out your character. And usually taking a risk is pretty bad in this game, because it can usually just kill you since there's no save option. But, oddly enough, on mobile, the game is not permadeath on mobile. Like, if you die on mobile, you don't actually have to, like, just start over. Like, on mobile, wait, no, the game autosaves. In the PC version, it does too. But on mobile, it doesn't delete your save file when you die. Which, I don't know, that's pretty hypocritical for the, permadeath game that they always advertise as being a standalone, very difficult survival game. Pretty odd for the mobile version. I'll do a comparison video on it, but yeah, the mobile version is not permadeath. Very odd. But it sort of makes sense for mobile since it's a phone. Pretty difficult to use. But yeah, my review on Neo Scavenger, I had to give it a 8 out of 10 without looking at it with the nostalgia that I have with it. But the game is actually really good. I'll probably do like a history video on Neo Scavenger eventually, but that's for like another video. The game actually does have a little bit of history behind it, but if I'd wanted to do that, I'd have to do a bit more research on it. But yeah, that's Neo Scavenger for you. It's a really nice game if you like old school gaming, like turn-based. The game's pretty big. It's got a pretty nice map, very large. Uh, there's a lot of stuff to it. The game is really fun with mods. My only gripes with the game is there's a lot of missed potential. And also, it maybe could be easier. That's probably just me, like, being weak and stuff, but if you like really hard survival games, then this is for you. It's a really good game. I'd have to rate it in either a 8 out of 10, maybe a 7 out of 10. One of those. Nah, I'm gonna have to say 8 out of 10. I really do like survival games, but the game could be maybe a little less harsh. The mobile version's not that harsh, but I'm a PC gamer, so yeah, the game could be a little less harsh, a little bit of missed potential, but if you're a new player, the game is definitely really good. So yeah, those are a few tips and an honest review on Neo Scavenger. If you want to see more reviews on stuff, like my opinion on it, and what I give it, and an honest review, uh, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of these reviews, and I'll see you in the next video, broskies. Alright, see ya.